am a cinematographer, YouTuber, Instagrammer, content creator, whatever you want to call me. I do that when it comes to video. I'm holding a stills camera though. But yeah, I am formally trained. I do have my film degree, but I do a lot more of the social media side and definitely a lot of educational content when it comes to Sony cameras, but not just Sony cameras, you know, other cameras in general and just filmmaking stuff. I have the brand new RX1R Mark III. This is the new camera that has just dropped. It's a 61 megapixel sensor that is out of the A7R5. So it is high resolution. It's a stills camera, so it's not for me. It definitely is not for me. I'm an FX6 user. I have a big video camera rig, but this thing is an absolute beast for what it offers. It's just not for me because it's a fixed lens camera, so it doesn't utilize that Sony E mount. So it's a 35mm focal length f2. I'm sure the RX1R Mark II users will absolutely love this. Leica users probably would love this as well. It's just not for me.
Now, can I tell you the Australian price?
Okay.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah, I'm standing, but yeah.
Okay.
I'll hold on to something, yeah?
8,700.
You know the FX6 is 8,700 as well, I think. I could buy another FX6.
Yeah.
I would love another FX6. Look, it's not for me. I'm sure there's a demographic. It's a phenomenal camera. Obviously, it feels nice. If I did street photography, it would be a nice camera. Absolutely. I almost have no opinions on this because it's just not for me.
Look, I talk a lot on my channel about use case.
Yeah.
And yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's all about use case. RX1R3. Just been announced, 60 megapixels, fixed lens, 35mm f2, great lens for sure. So that's great. A modern camera. It's coming out in 2025. I believe the last time this particular camera was shipped by Sony was 2015. So they've had 10 years to work it out. There's a couple of things when I was just quickly reading through the spec that I was quite interested by, considering the competition that's available today and even Sony's own competition. This camera doesn't come with IBIS, it's only got one card slot and it doesn't have an earphone socket. Now I couldn't find whether it had audio monitoring via USB-C. Some cameras do, some don't. On top of all of that, this camera is coming in at over $5,000 US. So I'm really struggling to see where Sony thinks this fits. They have cameras like the A7CR, which is almost half the price, and you can detach the lens, and it has in-body image stabilization. This camera is basically that camera, but with a fixed lens on the front of it and without IBIS, a similar EVF, I think. It's very strange to me that they've almost doubled the price, removed features, fixed a lens on the front of it, and they're up against, I suppose, the Fuji X100VI and the new fixed lens Fuji, the GFX. Of course, they're both different, as well as the Leica, by the way, which is more expensive, but I don't quite see Sony playing in this space in the same way and the same love affair with kind of very expensive cameras that are more limited than, let's say, as I said, the A7CR, or I don't know, in other companies you might want a camera like a Z8, which is cheaper. This is not the target, of course. It's aimed at, I think, photographers more than videographers, but there's no IBIS in it and the lens is fixed. I don't know. There's a strange set of specifications here. Of course it's cute. Of course it fits in your pocket. I suppose Sony's kind of got retro styling, kind of, but not really. Not like Fuji, not like Nikon and other manufacturers. It's an interesting release. I can't wait to see the overall industry reaction to it. I don't know what's going on there. I can't wait to see the Australian price, but even if it's not the normal sort of 1.5 times markup, making it $7,500 here, which would just be like mind-numbing. Like I could not see anybody buying that for $7,500 when the A7CR, I think, has been around three, maybe 3.5 at its cheapest, so half the price, more than half the price cheaper. And if it's say 6, like I can't imagine it being less than 6 to 6.5, it's still bananas. I just can't see anyone buying a camera with a fixed lens that's, you know, not a Leica essentially, for that sort of money. Absolutely bananas.
I just have to jump in here. I recorded this about 4 days ago before I went to FrameFest. It seemed that pricing for the RX1R3 is now available, and it is a whopping $7,995. That is, well, $8,000. Twice the price of the current full price of the A7CR. And you can remove the lens and you've got IBIS.
I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Am I missing something here in regards to this new Sony fixed lens high resolution camera with no IBIS? And yes, it does have electronic stabilization, but wait for it, only in video, not in stills. I mean, that never works that great, but you've got this 60 megapixel sensor that you could probably utilize, lose a bit of resolution, get yourself a little bit of stabilization. Maybe that just doesn't work very well. I suppose it kind of doesn't. Love to know your thoughts. Am I missing something about this camera? Please do let me know in the comments below.
A few quick things about FrameFest. Absolutely so exciting to be there and be part of the community. This was all about all types of creators from every level, from entry level all the way to the massive ones. And just for people who love photography, everybody was there. So thank you so much, FrameFest, for having me. It was just absolutely amazing. I got to meet Jan and Jason and so many other creators. And well, I can't wait for the next one. So FrameFest, bring it on down to Melbourne and anywhere else in Australia you'd like to do it.
Well, my name is Jan Wegener. I'm a YouTuber and photographer, and yeah, we're just here at the FrameFest now.
And let's start with that. Tell me what you're enjoying about FrameFest.
Well, it's actually, I haven't really heard about it until someone sort of showed it to me, and then when I heard about it, I thought it's quite an interesting event, and I just really enjoy meeting people at these kind of events, like my followers, other YouTubers like you, and I think it's really great to actually meet people that follow you on the internet face to face, because it's always quite a remote experience. Otherwise you have like comments or emails where you can communicate with people, but if you actually see someone face to face, it's such a different experience. You get some nice input, obviously a lot of nice ideas from the other creators around here as well, or how to set up your studio and stuff. So it's been really good.
Really fantastic meeting people in flesh and blood, isn't it, Jan?
Yeah.
Tell the viewers, who some will know you but some may not, what's your channel about?
So my channel is called My Name Jan Wegener, and I do a lot of camera reviews. The subject I choose to photograph is birds. Like, I used to sort of start out as more of a bird photography channel, but now I like to see myself more as someone that reviews cameras, tells people what the best settings are and good field techniques, and then sort of choose birds as my subject. But a lot of the things I say you can basically apply to any genre of photography, because especially with settings, for instance, you can only set up a camera in like 3 or 4 different ways essentially, and then if it works for birds, it will basically work for any other genre as well, because I always find, especially with the autofocus, if it can follow a tiny bird through the grass, it can basically follow anything, especially a human. Like, for humans are so easily recognizable for cameras, whereas little green things somewhere else, it's not always that easy.
We were talking just before with Sam about the shots that get away. What percent, when you're out, you know, essentially hunting the bird,
Yeah.
what percentage of shots do you lose? Like, you're there, you get into position, you're just about to frame,
Yeah.
and they go.
Well, that happens a lot, and that's obviously why I definitely like pre-capture and high frame rates as well. I think it's a big improvement for me. Just sometimes you're a bit too slow, but if you have that pre-capture, you still got it. So that's a big improvement for me. And I take a lot of photos, like a lot of photos. I don't edit a lot of those photos, but I basically want to get as many as I can in the field, then I sort through them, and then I only edit a handful of them. But having that high speed and pre-capture and shooting a lot really allows me to sometimes get moments that are very hard to get otherwise.
When it comes to pre-capture and the technicalities of it, in your usage of it, is it running all the time, or do you have to do a half press or some other button press to ensure that it's actually happening?
Well, usually it's on half press, because one downside is that it overheats the camera. So if it was just running the whole time, it will cut out at some stage. So you have to be a bit conscious of it sometimes. In the past, I sort of turned it on and off, but I always seem to turn it off when I need it and turn it on when I don't need it. So I kind of resorted to just having it on all the time now. And on most camera brands, you can also now change how many frames you're actually capturing. So usually just set it to like 5 or 6 frames. That seems to be my reaction time, right? You can sort of figure out your reaction time, how many shots you usually miss, and then you set it to that amount, because you don't want to get like 20 or 30 shots, because then, for instance, say you want a bird taking off, you got like 30 shots of the bird just sitting on the branch, not doing anything. And then almost sometimes your buffer might be full by the time it's actually doing the right thing. So just having a small amount is really good.
Pretty much every camera has only got about a second, don't they? They can only get back, and it's still a second regardless of whether you're doing at 30 FPS or at 5
No, it's
FPS.
always at the highest frame rate, the pre-capture.
Okay.
And so I like to set it to normally 0.2 or 0.3 seconds, and at like 20 or 30 frames per second, that equates to like 6 or 8 shots or something.
You're saying even 0.3 of a second is enough of a difference between the...
It seems to be like, that's why I
That's
said
amazing.
work out your reaction time.
Yeah.
And then that's usually what you get, because it's really annoying if you get 10 extra photos that you just have to delete every time because it's just nothing there.
Pre-capture, I would have thought, in your field is an absolute game changer. Like it is a fundamental difference of wildlife photography. How, like when you first started to hear about it and then you understood what it meant, how excited were you about the
It
potential?
was definitely an exciting feature, and I think that's something that will obviously come to, I think, all cameras going forward, fingers crossed, looking at you, Nikon, and especially having it in full RAW and writing it directly to the memory card, because that was a problem with Canon in the past. They would just write it into like a sort of container file, and you had to use a program to extract it, and you couldn't shoot while the buffer was clearing, so not a good implementation, whereas now you can just write it directly to the memory card like any other file. And yes, it is a game changer. People think it's only for action or something taking off, but I find like with little birds, for instance, they move so much from the left to the right that oftentimes you just always miss the moment when it's looking right at you. Whereas now with pre-capture, sometimes you can almost wait until the moment happens, then press, and because you had it half pressed, you already captured that moment.
Yeah.
And actually a Sony shooter that was shooting sports like Australian Open and stuff, he said he uses the A9 III, and he has it set to like 1 second or 1.5 seconds. And so he actually waits until after the tennis players hit the ball to decide, was this a good moment or not? And if he thinks it's good, then he only presses the button. So that helps him to shoot less, because he just chooses the moment, because he knows with half press he has still captured it, which is mind blowing. Really.
It's amazing. Basically what you're saying there is that you can edit your choice after it's happened.
Basically, because you have it on card and you just decide, do I want this or not?
So you just have to tap it to keep it, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
So literally that is changing how some types of photography are actually captured.
Potentially, and it definitely helps. It's like, even if you have a bird taking off, in the past you would basically have to anticipate the moment and kind of just fire away, but then if it doesn't fly, you just get 30 shots of it not flying, and then it flies off, your buffer is full, whereas now you just wait until you see it go and press, and you still have it.
Pray and spray is basically a thing of the past.
It's still the way to go sometimes, but generally it's not as needed anymore. I really enjoy just shooting with lots of different gear, because it gives me a perspective into all the different brands and what each camera's about, and it gives me a unique way of comparing cameras as well, or reviewing cameras, because I know what they're all like, basically.
Obviously you use a lot of telephoto lenses. What telephoto lenses do you enjoy? What's some of your favorites?
Definitely my favorite focal length would be 600 millimeters, and any of the f4 lenses really, but I also really like the Nikon 600 PF, for instance, that tiny 600mm lens. Whenever I can get my hands on that, that's something I just enjoy, and I can see myself having one of those in the future.
And Jan, what would be a message from you to people who are starting off and either want to get into photography or get into YouTubing? Because FrameFest is all about creators. That's why we're here. What are your thoughts? I mean, you and I both know how hard the journey is and how long the journey is. You've got a very successful channel. Any tips, any pointers?
Well, I think you have to set a foundation that you can build on. Like, you can't just decide tomorrow I want to become a YouTuber. Like, nothing stops you from having an Instagram and a YouTube while you're working somewhere else, and especially save some money as well, because you might not make as much money the first few years. For instance, first I was shooting a lot of real estate down in Melbourne, and then I was still shooting some real estate on the side while I was doing my own products and my YouTube channel, and obviously always took photos, and that was definitely something that set me apart from other people, like my photos and how they look. And so there was a general curiosity in people anyways, like how I do things. So I think you do have to build some sort of edge for you. You can't just decide I'm doing YouTube tomorrow and then you just do whatever and then just expect 10,000 views or something. So it's really something you have to build over time. It's like that famous quote of the 10 or 20 year long overnight success, right?
Before we say goodbye, what's one of the most serious accidents you've had with the camera gear?
Well, I haven't actually been too bad. I went out with a friend of mine. He dropped his 500mm lens, broke straight in half. So that kind of ruined that trip for him. It's a kind of funny story now, but it is definitely a kind of shocking moment to just see your gear on the ground split in half, especially if you were just about to go out shooting.
All right, everybody. Absolutely fantastic to meet Jan here in Sydney.
Yeah, for sure.
He's from the north now. You've been in the north for 4
It's pretty
years.
cold down here.
And I'm from the south. And in the not too many hours, we're both going to be going back home. So it's been absolutely
Yeah, it's been
fantastic.
awesome.
It's been great I will come up to the Gold Coast sometime and
Okay.
you can teach me how to do bird photography.
FX6 phenomenal camera. It has the A7S III sensor, so it's a 12 megapixel sensor, does 4K up to 120 frames per second. But the biggest thing with that, it has internal ND filters. I'd hate to say the word, but it is a game changer. Having the internal ND filters is phenomenal, especially if you have multiple lenses. You don't have to unscrew things, screw things back on. So much faster when it comes to documentary filmmaking. Even just fast-paced gym situations that I'm generally in. You know, it really depends on how the lighting changes. I light all my scenes though. ND filters don't really matter too much, but if I am doing a freelance gig outside, massive difference. Yeah, it's just a bigger camera as well. I like having bigger cameras. Sure, it has no IBIS, so like this thing doesn't have IBIS. So I understand non-IBIS people, but this actually has active, hasn't it? It's got
In video, it has electronic stabilization.
electronic stabilization. FX6 doesn't have electronic stabilization, yeah. But I build my rigs out super heavy, so I undersling. It's kind of like a pendulum, and it's really steady when you actually do that. So,
Which is weird because you look
Yeah.
so weak.
yeah, I'm a twig. He's using a wide-angle lens, so it makes me look bigger. You know,
Now, how heavy is your like? Do you use a gimbal or is it just all done handheld?
all handheld. Yeah,
I love that.
I love the handheld look. It just creates a little bit more intimacy, a little bit more realism. I feel like when it comes to sports and action, gimbal's too steady. It just doesn't feel real. I mean, unless it's intentional, it's part of a storytelling purpose. So I just feel like I like the grittiness of that handheld sort of look.
And so it's the whip pan and it's the movement and it's
Oh, I love whip hands.
that's all the stuff.
I love whip hands.
So
yeah.
then maybe do you need to go like A9 III because of the rolling shutter, or how do you feel about that?
That's an interesting topic. So rolling shutter, I've tested this on the Lumix S1R2. Terrible rolling shutter performance, but you almost can't notice it. So I actually did a test in a CrossFit situation, whipping the camera around. No one had an idea of what the rolling shutter was about because they'll focus on the story. I always tell people, if you're focused on the rolling shutter only, then you've lost the audience straight from the start. You really need to have a better story to tell, or it's probably just a camera tech nerd looking at the rolling shutter, like us. We nitpick every camera, you know, as we do. But you know, it's story at the end of the day, so rolling shutter shouldn't make a difference. So, you know, FX6 is a fast readout sensor, 8.7 milliseconds, obviously 12 megapixels, so it's faster to read out that sensor. But yeah, it's rolling shutter's no issue with that camera anyway.
When people talk about rolling shutter, and it's like, well, one, it's very rare that you have a situation where it appears, and two, yeah. Do you even know? Like if you're doing a whip band, the whole world's blurry anyway.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like I even tried, I specifically shot the video where I was whipping it around to see if I would physically notice any sort of rolling shutter artifacts, and because majority of my whips are kind of in this direction, and because rolling shutter is kind of more horizontal, yeah, so you would have to specifically do an actual physical pan. Mine's kind of like a pan tilt in a way most times.
You know, you're probably rolling with the rolling shutter.
Yeah.
You know, it would be possible to move in a way that actually,
Yeah.
maybe, if you go diagonal enough, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, you know, an interesting thing with rolling shutter is turning your camera on the side,
Ah,
sensor reads this way, right?
Yeah.
So if you pan, 0 rolling shutter because the sensor is reading out this way. And if you go this way, there's no rolling shutter artifacts because you're technically going a tilt action in a way.
vertical shooting. Love it.
So shoot vertical if you have a really bad rolling shutter camera.
Yeah.
Shoot vertical.
So
Perfectly
shoot
fine.
8K, crop to 4K, you're laughing.
Done.
Yeah, vertically.
The only breakage I've ever had is micro HDMI.
Yeah.
I can't remember what camera that was, but I had a micro HDMI into the HDMI and it broke inside the thing. Luckily, it didn't break the camera. It just broke the cord, so thankfully. But other than that, I don't think so. No camera's broken on me, which is good.
No butterfingers from you.
No, exactly.
Now, we're here at FrameFest. Tell us the vibe. Tell us what you're getting out of it.
What am I getting out of it? I'm meeting Matt, the legend, for the first time in person, which is awesome. Meeting a lot of people that I've spoken to on, the internet in Australia for the first time. I've been to a few of these events, and there's just always new people to talk to, and yeah, my voice is really starting to feel it. It's day 2. And we're almost done. Actually, not.
We've got 5 hours.
Yeah, we've only got 5 hours to go, so it's fine, right?
Yeah. And would you like to see more FrameFests?
Oh, absolutely. You guys in North America, which is US and Canada, always get these awesome events in Vegas and in LA. We don't get any of these events, so please bring more FrameFests. Sony does Sony Trade Show, but it's only Sony. FrameFest has Canon, Fuji, Nikon, obviously Sony, Lumix. I forgot Lumix. Who else is there?
I think
Heaps of camera brands.
we don't have Leica. We don't have Pentax.
What's Leica?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Who's Leica?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
We don't have Leica, but we've got a $5 million Porsche sitting over there.
And we have the RX1R3.
Oh, it's $1,000 cheaper, isn't it? Ish.
I don't know what a Leica is.
Too much. Find me at Jason Morris Photo Cinema, YouTube, Instagram, no TikTok, so it's just YouTube and Instagram, or just type in Jason Morris Sony Shill, and you'll probably find me there as well.
I wanted to say thank you on camera, so to prove how tall you are, look how big this guy is.
Right up here.
He's about 7 feet tall. It's pretty. Am I even in the shot? Oh, there I am.
Yeah, there you are. Yep.
You're a big guy. He's so big. Watch out. He's going to take over from The Rock Johnson. He's going to be the new. He's going to be the new Hollywood star. I can feel it coming.
I don't think so.
No, you can.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Bloody good to meet you.
Awesome.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Legend.
That was great. It's been so good to see you, and if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again. So please do subscribe, please share, and please like. All right. Bye for now.